my pretty, and your little soul too.
Oh, fuck that. Let's do this. So, Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare. So the story of this movie, if you can fucking even call it that, basically has Freddy where he has wiped out all of the children in Springwood, Ohio, except for one character who they didn't even bother to give a fucking name to, John Doe, and he enlists John Doe, unbeknownst to him, into finding his long-lost daughter.
But you let me live!
Only long enough for you to bring me back my daughter.
Your daughter?
And now, she's gonna take me to a whole new playground.
But you want to know the true story of this movie? New Line, once again, didn't give a flying fuck about this franchise, didn't have a fucking idea how to bring anything interesting or creative to it, and didn't give a flying fuck about the quality of this, so they slapped Freddy dying on the poster and the title of this movie to get a couple 100,000 more people into the theater for a quick buck. That's the real story of this piece of shit. So if you can't already tell by my tone, guys, this is my least favorite Freddy movie by far. It's one of the worst horror movies and worst movies ever made in the history of fucking ever. And it's a gigantic piece of shit that I'm angry that I had to rewatch it to do this review. I'm pissed. You guys don't realize how much I do for you. You just don't know. So right off the bat, everything about Freddy's Dead, to the acting, the camera work, the set design, Freddy's makeup, the dialogue, everything reeks of really cheap amateur filmmaking. I'm surprised this movie even had a budget that was more than $10,000 because it looks like shit. It's so corny and campy that it is laughable to watch. Freddy spends 70% of his screen time cackling and laughing. What the fuck are you laughing at? I'm not laughing. The jokes and the one-liners are beyond terrible.
What do you know? To beat my high score.
And Freddy has been devolved and watered down into a bland and annoying boogeyman that is not even entertaining to watch. Every single one of the characters in this and all of the acting is trash, and Freddy's Dead is crammed full of all of these weird and pointless cameos. You got Tom Arnold and Rose Ann in a Freddy movie, for Christ's sake. What the fuck?
All right, once again, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Question?
Yeah, what are you on? Looks like a frying pan and some eggs to me.
And moving on from the characters, let's talk about the kills in this movie. They are fucking horrible in this. Garbage. You get one kid that's killed in a video game, and they even make a reference to Nintendo's Power Glove. And then you get another kid that's killed by some animatronic spider hearing aid that Freddy moves his little knives across the chalkboard and blows his head up.
Nice hearing from you, Carlos.
And then you get this one. Looney Tunes, anyone? And aside from that, why the fuck do so many people survive at the end of this movie? Why are so many people left standing? This is supposed to be the final chapter. This is supposed to be the huge climax of this series, and damn near everybody lives. How can you make Freddy look like more of a bitch than having all of his victims walk out unscathed? This was the first movie in the franchise to be directed by Rachel Talalay. She was one of the executive producers and a big piece of the Freddy franchise from the beginning. And this was her kind of getting her throne, finally able to direct a Freddy movie. And God, what a horrible fucking job she did. She did so bad that I am literally shocked that somebody else let her direct a movie. She's got like 5 movies under her directorial credit. I mean, you took one of the greatest horror franchises and one of the best horror icons in history, and you made a movie that's like a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon. How do you come back from that? And don't even get me started on the 3D bullshit that they tried to pull in this. One other gimmick to get people into the theater because they knew they had a piece of shit to show them. The entire climax, the entire reason why everybody who unfortunately saw this movie in the theater came to see this piece of shit movie is because they wanted to see Freddy's death. They wanted to see the end. They wanted to see the big final showdown, and it's all garbage because they forced it into being 3D.
Happy Father's Day.
Kids.
All of the CGI in this sequence is absolute trash. It's actually headache-inducing how fucking terrible it is. The Dream Demons, who are the ones who've been powering Freddy apparently for this entire franchise, look like fucking fish. And the route that they decide to go to kill Freddy is, wait, did you know that we can actually grab a hold of Freddy in the dream world and wake up and pull him into the real world where he's actually able to be killed? Where have I heard this before? Sounds awful familiar. I mean, this movie is called Freddy's Dead. This is supposed to be the ultimate death of Freddy, and his deaths in both Part 4 and Part 5, which I actually hated, was much more of a fitting end to Freddy than this improvised bullshit 3D gimmick. The sad part about all of this, or well, one of the sad parts, is that the original story concepts that they had before they put this movie in front of the camera could have been something interesting. The first draft that they had Jacob, Alice's son, coming back to finally take out Freddy, and the Dream Warriors were going to come back and help him take down Freddy. That's right, they were going to go back and bring back characters and elements from what many will call the best of this entire franchise. And somehow, that idea got scrapped because they didn't think it was good enough. Peter Jackson himself even turned in a draft for this movie. That's right, the mind behind The Lord of the Rings, one of the biggest franchises in movie history, turned in a draft for Freddy's Dead that got rejected. And his concept was actually pretty interesting too, especially when you look at how the franchise had devolved and watered itself down by this point. And his concept was going to be that Freddy at this movie was going to be so terrible and so unthreatening to everybody in Springwood. The kids were not afraid of him, they were not threatened by him, and they would purposely go to sleep so that they could taunt him and beat the shit out of him in the dream world. And Freddy ultimately gets his revenge because he gets one kill and all of a sudden fear spreads all back through Springwood. Why didn't that become this movie? Because that right there sounds like it could have been cool. Fortunately for Peter Jackson, though, the fact that he was working with New Line and got his script in there and got his ideas heard, they remembered his name, and they gave him a little phone call whenever they had a small franchise called The Lord of the Rings that they wanted to bring to the screen. So I guess if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, there's one thing you can like about Freddy's Dead. But for me, there is nothing about this fucking movie that I like. And I know I've been choosing my favorite or my scariest scene in these movies, but I can't do it here. There's no scene that I enjoy. The only small 2 to 3 second part of this movie that I cannot tell you why it always makes me laugh, but it always makes me laugh. And that's when the guy is looking through the map and he's asked where the hell we're supposed to be going, and then he says,
Carlos! I asked you for the map!
What? Yeah, well, the map says we're fucked.
I have no idea why I find that funny. And it's not really funny in a good way, it just always makes me laugh. And that is the only part of this movie that I can ever watch and not completely roll my eyes, want to punch my fucking fist through my TV, strangle anybody at New Line who thought that this movie was a good idea. And unfortunately, even Robert Englund, I want to be like, dude, why did you do this movie? Why are you a part of this? Why is this in your legacy? Why? What the fuck? I'm not exaggerating, people. This movie is literally a painful experience for me to sit through. For me to actually see my favorite horror icon get represented in this garbage-ass 90 minutes crock of shit is painful down to my core. In fact, here's some things that I would rather do than rewatch this fucking movie. Poke myself in the face with scissors. Repeatedly. Have a threesome with Charlie Sheen. Spend the entire weekend in this guy's basement. Hey guys. I really did just want a price on my guitar. Hello? I'll listen to the entire Backstreet Boys discography on repeat for days. I'll compete in an extended episode of Naked and Afraid. I'll light all of my hair on fire, up there and down there. I will watch Miley Cyrus twerk for 24 hours straight while being waterboarded. Once the review is done, I never have to experience this fucking movie again. Thank you. So to wrap all this up, guys, fuck Freddy's Dead, fuck New Line, fuck Rachel Talalay, fuck whoever wrote this story, whoever acted in this movie. Even though you were probably a struggling actor, I'm sorry, it's not an excuse for bringing this into the fucking world. And fuck everybody who keeps this movie alive by saying that it's not as bad as people say it is. Because it is as bad as people say it is. It's worse. It's one of the worst fucking movies I've ever sat through in my life. It's one of the worst pieces of shit that I have ever had to review on this channel. And ultimately, I only have one thing to say to Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. And that is fuck this movie. Whew. So what do you guys think of Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare? Please tell me none of you watching this actually like this movie. If you do, please God, try to defend it in the comment section below. This is going to be fun. But put all your thoughts on Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, this entire franchise, anything you want to talk about regarding Freddy Krueger in the comment section below, guys, and we'll talk about it. Please like and share this video and hit that subscribe button. That way you get to come back and see me next time. And if you want to check out some of my social media links like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you can also check those down below, and my new Patreon page where I'm going to have a lot of cool, really exclusive content for my patrons only, including commentaries and exclusive movie reviews. So check that out, guys. And if you want to check out some more of this Nightmare on Elm Street review series, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.